The Washington Commanders are coming off a much-needed bye and are currently the last place in the NFC at the playoffs for health today at that 7th seed. They're traveling to New Orleans to try and go 9-5 and keep their playoff hopes alive, while the Saints are trying to figure out who is going to be their quarterback in this game. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 15 matchup between the Commanders and Saints. But before we get into that, we're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And currently, as we're sitting, we're a little bit over 200 away, which is like absolutely wild to us. So thank you to everybody that has joined. But let's see if we can hit that goal this week. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win and why. Ryan, start off with the Saints here real quick because I want to get to the Commanders and kind of some of the adjustments that you think that they needed to make going into the bye. But you can tell who my team is if you're watching this, and it sucks to see like the star players of the opposing team, and also then just the other team in general just keep getting hurt because I want to beat the Saints when they're fully healthy, and we don't have to play the Saints anymore. But it has been, historic. I feel on the amount of injuries the Saints have had, especially to like season-ending injuries, and Derek Carr breaking his hand. You've had a bunch of other guys as well, too, like Olave with his concussion injuries, Paulson Debo as well, Taysom Hill has the ACL. There's a bunch of other ones that
didn't Rashid Shaheed break his femur?
That was Paulson Adebo. Rashid Shaheed, what did he have? It was another season-ending one. It was a meniscus or was it?
Might have been a meniscus.
Something with his knee where it had to require surgery and he was done for the season. But yeah, like all the star players. I don't play Alvin Kamara because I feel like it's the way the season has been going. He's going to get hurt. And also, too, we'll get to this. I think the one way that you could beat the Commanders is through running the ball because they're 27th overall rushing yards allowed. So, that might be a weakness there. But in general, though, it just stinks to see the Saints team as a whole just be this banged up and injured. But then on the flip side, though, too, if you're the Commanders, yeah, it's just football. And so you'll gladly take this matchup here. You need to get to 9-5 because I feel like that's going to be kind of a very interesting point here because the Rams are at 7-6, the Falcons are at 6-7. A lot of teams at 6-7 they're trying to vie for that spot. The Bucs are 7-6, so if they lose a game and the Falcons win, we have the tiebreaker. So then now they're at 7-7. So want to throw it over to you here. What do you think of kind of the Saints and all their injuries, and then start to segue over to the Commanders and what you think of the body work that they've done so far and some things that they were hoping to address in the bye.
Yeah, for the Saints here, it's just been really sad watching them come out and have the explosion of just offense and defense actually in those first couple games, and then the injuries really kind of took them out and they kind of fell out of rhythm, and they've just never been able to get back into rhythm. You touched on it. Skill position players galore have been injured. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen have been in and out of the lineup. So it's just tough. They sold Marshawn Lattimore off as well at the trade deadline. It's just football has hit the New Orleans Saints this season, and it's just a tough place. And not to get too philosophical about their team as a whole, but going into the 2025 offseason, they're kind of screwed. They're negative $75 million in cap right now. They got to restructure some deals. They're going to be just good enough where they're not going to be in contention for really even to be able to trade up to get one of the top quarterbacks. And this isn't a great draft to begin with. So it's just a tough spot for the Saints to be in to try to rebuild this franchise at the moment.
Well, and that's where I wonder with the new head coach as well that's coming in is, do you just blow it up and be like,
I think
screw
so.
it? Because we would talk about this. We would do the Tracy take now for 4 years. So this will be the 5th off season, I think, coming up in 2025 or the 4th. I'm trying to remember, but
we started in the spring of 2020.
It was
2021.
2021. Okay, yeah.
So this is our 4th off season.
I specify that because every year the Saints are last in salary cap availability going into free agency because they're just kicking the can down the road here. And I almost wondered if you just bite the bullet this year. And I'm trying not to say that as a biased Falcons fan, being like, I want to try and have 2 wins. But if you're trying to rebuild this Drew Brees era, and it's now might just be the best time. You have all these guys that are getting hurt. You're starting to trade away Marshawn Lattimore. We're going to bite the bullet for a year or two, and bring in a young, exciting coach maybe who was you think has potential, or maybe a veteran coach that's been here before and wants to rebuild. no pun intended, like not to be ironic, but like a Sean Payton, like what he's doing now with Denver. So bringing Bill Belichick, maybe we'll have to see about that. So, but it's just gonna be very interesting, kind of what happens with the Saints over these next couple of weeks. Probably Jake Hayner's probably gonna be the guy at quarterback. Even though that being said, I guess maybe you want to see some more reps with Spencer Rattler. But you also, I guess, still want to give your team a chance to win. Not saying he can't do that, but probably not. But we'll have to kind of wait and see. The Commanders, though, what's your take on that?
I mean, Jane Daniels is electric. I still don't think this offensive line is up to snuff just yet. And defensively, they're struggling. I think Dan Campbell is pulling all the strings that he can to get this team to play at the defensive level that they're at, but it's still just not quite enough. It's not going to matter in this week. And also, just kind of like a bigger outlook on the Commanders. I think at this point, you can kind of lock them in as a wild card team because they have the Saints this week, which, spoiler alert, I'm picking them. I think you are too. Then they have a home game versus the Eagles, which will be tough. But then they have a home game against your Falcons and then at the Dallas Cowboys, which, unless major changes happen between now and then, I'm probably picking the Commanders in both of those games. So,
the Cowboys did beat the Commanders a couple weeks ago, so I guess not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm still probably going to pick the Commanders.
Yeah, probably. So.
Because I think the Cowboys, we watched Micah Parsons march off the field in anger after, and granted, I would be pretty upset too the way they lost that game. But all in all, like I just think this Commanders team, they had a good bye for them. I think they can come back and regroup, get some much needed reps against the Saints here. They have a tough game next week, and they can start building for the postseason. And whether they get a favorable matchup for that as well is out of their control and really everyone's control. And so it'll just like they'll play who they play and we'll go from there. But just the fact that this is a franchise that was picking second overall to now you're a true wild card contender, I think has been a really transformative season, not just for the team, but for the fans and everyone. And Jane Daniels looks electric. Like they have a really bright future. And I think if they go build upon that in 2025, this could be a scary team.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of good changes coming, potentially even to some more future changes coming overall. Even to the team name potentially too. So we'll have to be on the lookout for all that. But yeah, when it comes to this game here, I just think they're going up against like a bunch of backups in the NFL now, just with how injury riddled the Saints are. And so I think they're explosive enough. And then they're coming off a bye, so they're much more well rested. While the Saints then had to travel to New York, and then they got decimated with injuries. They won the game, but still like in New York, going to have a backup quarterback. This is just Washington for me all the way.
Yeah. I think this could be a 42-24 type game where Washington gets up a few scores early and then kind of coast to the finish line. So
you think the Saints can score 24? I don't know if they can score 24.
This Washington defense is not that great. And if they quit, like if they go into prevent, it's not awful, but it's not.
Like you say that, like so they're 12th in overall in total yards allowed, 5th in passing yards allowed, 27th in rushing yards allowed. And they've got 31 sacks on the season, putting them 19th overall. They've got 13 turnovers, so like 18th overall. Not like I guess if great's the word that we're using, yes, they're not great, but they're not bad. They
went from a bottom 5 defense in the league to maybe slightly below average in my eyes.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so I agree with that. And they have a couple outliers too. Like they gave up 484 yards to Baltimore, which and a lot of teams are.
Well, they probably also gave up a lot of yards to Philly too.
Yeah, 434. So other than that, and those are the top 2 offenses in the league, especially rushing offenses. They gave up 228 rushing yards to Philly and 176 to Baltimore. So actually, technically, they gave up less than Baltimore's average per game. So
wow,
not bad. Not bad. Shows you how good they are running the ball.
Yeah,
that's stupid. So you take those 2 games out. Statistically, they're not horrible. Actually, statistically, they're probably above average. So
possibly.
And in this game too, I think this is even going to help out their stats even more because I just don't see how the Saints are really going to be able to move the ball just in general.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Let's go ahead. We're both taking the Commanders in this one. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. while you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Sorry, I was trying to wait till the end. Leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.